Welcome at Le Save Baking Center. So today's presentation is for a new product, Le Save Premix for Baguette. We call it Terroir. So for this recipe, we use 70% flour, 3% of this premix. This premix is based on salt, roasted malted flour, deactivated yeast, acerola powder, enzyme. It doesn't contain any E number. 0.6% of yeast. We can use SSD red or SAF instant red. 70% water. Then we put additional water at the end of mixing, 4%. We call it bassinage. So flour, premix, yeast, and we mixing dry a few seconds. Then we put the water. Mixing time 4 minutes low. Then we start to put the extra water after 2 minutes. Fast. It helps also to get open texture to your bread. Okay, so now the dough is developed, as you can see here. So dough temperature should be between 25 and 26. So now we cover the dough and we give 30 minutes rest before punching. So after 30 minutes, we give a little punching. Very light, like that, huh? Just light. Tu restes là, ok. Then 30 more minutes at the room temperature. So after 30 minutes, so 30 minutes after the punching, so now we're going to do the dividing. We divide at 320. So now we're going to pre-shape the dough very slightly. Like that. So after 30 minutes resting, we're doing the shaping. Very light shaping. So now we're going to prove them for 30 minutes at 27-28 degrees. So for 30 minutes. Okay? So after 30 minute proof, little tips, we can cool the baguette about 3-5 degrees for about 10 to 30 minutes before baking. So now the dough is a little bit cold on the surface, so it will be easy to cut. So regarding the cutting, for this size today we give 3 cuts, and very important, each cut should come 1/3 of the next, with about 1 centimeter between each. So we put a steam. Before baking. And I think it's enough. So we don't need to put extra steam. Baking time, it's about 20-22 minutes at 250 degrees. So now baking is finished. As you can see, the nice color, shiny, and nice open.
Now I'm with Marine Baudin from Sensory Analysis Laboratory, and we're going to analyze together this production of today. So first of all, please have a look on this one. This is the one we done from beginning, and with 74% water. And the idea is to get open texture by this process. And as you can see here, also due to the premix terroir, the crumb is very creamy. Second process is also direct, but with lower water, so the dough is much easier to work. And as you can see, the texture is a little bit less open. And the last one, also another idea to work with the terroir premix, is overnight process with 72% water. So now let you, Marine, to analyze this bread and to explain what you find.
Yes, so with Jean-Louis we have tested and evaluated the 3 products, and as Jean-Louis said, the first one is has more open structure, and the both direct process are really close and have like durum wheat notes, but the first one with more hydration, we have more moisture in the mouth, and with an overnight process we have more aromatic flavors because we have a longer fermentation, and we brings the long fermentation brings more aromatic flavors and also a more dense or firm texture.
So thank you very much, Marine, for this analysis. So as you can see, terroir premix can work in many different processes. So today we work all these 3 recipes work on the same shape. But next video we'll try to make a different shape from the same dough in order to give you more idea for your range. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
화면에 보시는 급수만 다르고 동일한 배합의 3가지 바게트의 공정 차이에 대하여 설명드리겠습니다. 먼저 믹싱에 대하여 설명드리겠습니다. 1번은 오늘 비디오로 보셨듯이 바시나지를 하였고 나머지 2, 3번은 하지 않았습니다. 바시나지의 목적은 급수를 더 넣기 위함도 있지만 기공을 크게 하므로 치아바타 등에도 사용하시면 기공을 크게 만들 수 있습니다. 반면 나머지 2개의 반죽은 바시나지를 하지 않았습니다. 1차 버릇이 1번은 중간에 가벼운 펀칭을 하였고 나머지 두 반죽은 하지 않았습니다. 휴지는 1, 2번이 상온 30분이며 3번 반죽은 3도에서 15시간 오버나이트 후 실온 25도에서 1시간 하였습니다. 2차 발효에 큰 차이를 보이는데요. 1번은 27도에서 30분 발효 후 5도씨 냉장고에서 30분간 반죽을 냉각시킵니다. 이것은 찬 공기가 베이킹 시 급격한 고온에서 반죽 중심의 공기 팽창력을 올려 반죽의 팽창을 도와 기공을 크게 만드는 원리입니다. 가장 중요한 것은 베이킹 온도로 고온에서 굽지 않으면 기공을 열 수가 없습니다. 비디오에서 보셨듯 2차 발효 후 냉장고에서 나온 반죽의 상태가 매우 쭈글거리며 좋지 않음을 볼 수 있는데요. 이것이 고온에서 구움으로 공기의 오븐 스프링을 얻게 되는 원리입니다. 더 질문이 있으시면 선인TS팀 김태일에게 아래에 있는 이메일 주소로 문의 부탁드립니다.
Dear bakers, today we are pleased to introduce a different way to shape the baguette from the same dough. This maybe give you some idea in your bakery to make more range for baguettes. First shaping is very old one. It's more than 100 years old. The baguette was 80 cm long and proof on this basket with a linen tissue inside. For this shape, we scale the baguette a little bit bigger as the standard baguette today. Today we are between 250-350 grams, but for this baguette we are at 500 grams. Put a little bit flour on the base of the basket, the linen tissue, and we put the dough inside like that. So when you proof the baguette like that, it will increase the flavor to your crust because you have the fermentation with the flour on the surface of the baguette. Next shaping is the standard shaping. About 55 centimeters. Simple like that. And we proof without any flour. Next one, it's exactly the same shaping. But to match all style baguette, we put a little bit flour on the surface of the linen tissue, and after that we put the baguette, the finishing up, in order to proof as the first one. Next, exactly the same shaping, but we made a little bit pointed end to get other finishing, with also little bit flour on the linen tissue. And this one is a sister of the previous, but with a much more pointed end. It's very popular now in France in order to get more crispy on the ends of the baguette. Okay? And also proof up and down with a little bit flour on the linen tissue. Next is very light shaping. We just give two simple fold like that, and after that we roll on the little bit flour. So we have the finishing not very close, and we put also up and down on the lint tissue. We are not cutting, and the open will happen on this finishing during the baking. So this one, very simple. We roll the baguette just like that on the flour. So very easy, but also more and more popular in France because it's making old style and very old finishing. Before baking, we can give one cut, or we can just leave like that. It will open by himself during the baking. So for this one, the final proof will be shorter because there is no pressure during shaping. So we can leave about 30-35 minutes proofing only instead of 45-50 minutes. So now, instead to use a wheat flour for the no shaping baguette, we can use wholemeal, we can use a bran, we can use a rye flour, and you will get different flavor to your crust according with the flour you are using. So it's exactly the same way. We put a lot of flour on the table and we do a rolling like that. So the surface will be much more brown than the wheat flour after baking. And we proof also with a wholemeal flour on the surface of the lint tissue. So now we use a seed with inclusion and also a topping. So for that we take the baguette. So we use the first one with inclusion, little bit on the tissue, wet tissue, and we put on the surface. And we roll the baguette like that in order to get the seed inside. Like that. And after proofing, we just give one simple cut in order to get the seed on the surface of your baguette. Next, it's just simple shaping, and we put the seeds on the surface, roll on the wet tissue, roll on the seed like that, and proof it. So now we're going to proof all our different shaping. And as I told you, for the one with a very low pressure during shaping, we have a shorter proofing. Now we're going to analyze this baguette after baking. All the different shaping we done before are here. So this one, all stop shaping, shape on the basket with the lint tissue inside. We proof upside down in order to give to the crust some flavor also. And so this one is quite old style according with the line 80 cm. Standard shaping, no flour on surface, 55 cm. And with 5 cuts, but if you do a little bit longer, 70, we can imagine 7 cuts to this way. So same shaping as the previous, but we proof on the lint tissue upside down in order to match the flavor with the old style proof on the basket. So this one with a little bit pointed end and with 3 cuts. So This one is very appreciated by the French because much more crispy on the finishing. Based on the previous, we have a much thinner finishing, so you can imagine very crispy, like a rusk, very similar, but the French people like. So this one, just two fold and roll on the flour, and we didn't give any cut before baking. It's open himself during the oven spring in the oven. No shaping at all, we just take a bowl and roll on the wheat flour and no cutting also, so you can see during baking we have a pressure from inside and the dough break at the weak point but at different place, so it makes the baguette very rustic. Same shaping as the previous, but instead to roll in the wheat flour, we roll in wholemeal, and the color is a little bit more brown and with a much more tasty crust. So this one, we put some seed on the bowl before shaping and we roll it in order to get the seed inside. And before baking, we just give one deep cutting to see the seeds after baking, like that. Last one. So this one we do a regular shaping and just roll the baguette on the seed. So it makes the seed a little bit more tasty during the baking. So today we did a different shaping, but we can imagine also from the same shaping give a different looking to your baguette by give a different cutting. We can imagine instead of 3, give 1 cut, 5 cuts, and also you can play with the baking profile in order to get more choice to your customer in your bakeries. So today baguettes are made with the same dough. For the dough we use Le Saf Premix, Terroir Premix at 3% with a 0.6% yeast. You can use SSD red or Saf Instant red and 70% water. There is plenty way to do baguette shaping. Today it was really a pleasure to introduce a few of them. Goodbye!